most roads are unknown. These are the paranormal roads.
Hello everybody, this is Jack.
This is Mike.
You're listening to Paranormal Roads on paranormalroads.com.
Welcome.
And yeah, we're going to be talking about ghosts.
Yeah, you know what? The reason this came up just a few minutes ago, literally just a few minutes ago, me and Jack got together to do the show, and he's like, my stomach hurts. I'm like, well, what'd you do? Have some bad burritos or something? He's like, no, I went ghost hunting last night. You remember that one place that me and him were going to go, but he got to go without me, and I'm cool with that. You went with your brother.
Yeah.
He got to go with his brother ghost hunting, and it made you physically ill.
Yes, and ill in the morning still.
Yeah, and like...
It's never happened to me before.
That's crazy. Why don't you tell us the story?
Alright, so it all starts with my mother and father. They lived near this place, okay? Like this field.
Right.
They live out in the country. And my sister has come in from Chicago. She took my mom out to dinner and stuff. So my mom asked me to spend time with my dad. My brother's at work. So I go to their house. And I'm like, alright, Dad. So we're watching The Lone Ranger, the new one.
Mm-hmm.
And then my brother gets home. And I was glad my dad was loving the movie. I was like, I found it on TV. My dad loves old westerns.
Good.
Okay. So I was having a good night. And when my brother got home, the movie was over. I was telling him about the new website, because paranormalroads.com, it's a brand new, great, up-and-coming website.
I think it's awesome.
And
I might be a little biased.
So my brother was like, let's go take some pictures. I was like, alright, I don't have any of my equipment with me. I'm just hanging out with my dad. So
You didn't have a recorder, or you usually take, a camera?
I didn't have nothing.
You didn't have any of that?
I had nothing with me. My brother, he has a camera. So he's like, well, let's go to that field. Because walk behind my parents' house. If you keep walking, you have the woods there, and you got this real big field. And it's really creepy. It's, I've actually, my whole time I've lived there, growing up, I've never gone there at night.
Right.
Not one time.
So when you, the casual viewer who are listening to this show, when somebody say, hey, there's a creepy old field, let's go. At home, you're probably like, oh, no, I don't think that's really such a good idea. But not Jack. He is, he's the founding father of paranormalroads.com. Ghost hunter extraordinaire. He's ready to go. So what'd you guys do?
So I grab a camera. So we first go to my mom and dad's backyard. I was like, hey, we got this little pet cemetery. Because over the years, all the pets that have passed away, we buried them in this one little spot.
Right.
This little area. So I took some pictures. And there's like one little orb in one picture.
Like when yeah, okay.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, hey, Jason, you want to walk there? Because I was telling him, I was like, I wanted to take Mike there because it's creepy.
Love it.
See, what it is the woods. There's the trail. When I was a kid, we had these trails through the woods.
Right.
All linked. It's like a little highway.
Sure.
But this end, which I never really used, but it's got a real weirdness to it, I'll say. It's a big field, it's got trees on both sides, and it gets narrower and narrower. It's really wide. It's like, I'd say it's like 2 football fields length down.
Right.
And the longer you go down towards the woods, it gets narrower and narrower. It starts off like probably 500 yards across.
Right.
And it goes all the way down to 10 yards.
Gotcha.
And in the middle, there's a trail that goes into the woods.
We drove by there, but I haven't been ghost hunting.
So my brother and I start walking down. And I'm probably a quarter up this little hillside. I start getting, the air starts getting really dense.
Really?
And if you know what I mean, it's like you can feel a thickness in the air. It's like you can actually breathe in. You're breathing in fluid almost. It's so thick.
What time of the night was that?
This was right at 11:30 at
Oh,
night.
great. Right, yeah, the witching hour. Great.
Yeah.
Good job there, Jack.
And I was down there till about 12 o'clock.
Right.
So we were walking. We're just walking real slowly. And I mean, when I say we're walking slowly, we're walking really slow. And I stopped, and my stomach started hurting me. I said,
Wow.
Jason, I'm starting to get ill. Like my stomach, I felt like someone was like grabbing my stomach from the inside and twisting it.
Holy cow.
It was like the worst stomach pain I've ever had in a long time.
Wow. I hate to give this away, Jack, but my story that I was going to tell you is exactly the same. That's what happened to me. My stomach got twisted, but we'll save that for later.
Okay.
You tell me yours, I'll tell you mine.
So I felt like there were hands inside of my body. I felt something in me, and it felt like something was squeezing the inside of me and turning it and twisting me. That's the
Wow.
feeling I had. So I kept walking. You know me, I just like, don't bother me. I'm like Ghostbuster.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah, of course.
I was like, nothing.
I don't know. Not everybody knows you. They might be new to the show, but yeah, nothing bothers you.
Yeah, nothing bothered me. So I kept going. But I had to stop, and I told my brother, I was like, I feel really sick. And then the further I walked, it felt like I had to throw up.
Right.
And I was, like I said, I spent the evening with my dad. Great night. Feel great. Now I'm walking down this field. I have this feeling of ill. And the atmosphere is thick. It's like you can breathe it in. So I kept walking, and then I stopped again. Because then I had this picture showed up in my head.
Right.
And I seen like a war scene.
Oh.
And then I felt
War
as if there were like I visualized like something from like the French and Indian War that popped in my head.
Like an actual battle
scene.
place. Wow.
Yes. So now I'm wondering, is this place a battle scene? This whole time I lived here, is this field a battle?
Could
Is this
be.
where a battle occurred?
Could be around here.
And something popped in my head, French and Indian War. This popped in my head.
Wow.
So we're walking real slow. So when we stop, it's really not much. We're walking real slow. And then we kept walking. And my brother took a few pictures. Like right around there.
Right.
And then I stopped again. Because I heard something. I heard a voice.
What did the voice say?
I couldn't hear. It was two voices. The first voice, I couldn't understand it. The second voice, it sounded like "get them."
Get them.
Yeah,
Like it was a voice,
it said "get
a
them."
disembodied voice, because there was nobody there.
Now my brother's to the right of me, and
Right.
I heard something right to the right of him
Oh, no.
say something, and then a different voice say "get them."
Yeah, and you can tell where something
It
is
was
by the sound.
It was a disembodied voice,
Right.
and all I said was, "Jason, did you hear that?" My brother had fear, dread on his face. For half a second, he looked at me. He didn't respond to me. He just took off and started running as fast as he could back to the house.
Wait a second. Is this the brother that you always say is like such a badass and like he gets in fights and nobody scares him ever at all?
Yeah, that
and
one.
he went running.
He was running so fast. So
Holy cow.
now I am alone in this field.
Right.
So I was like, oh, screw this. So I was running him back. I was like, all right, I'll go. I couldn't keep up with him, and I'm faster than him. He was running so fast. But that's not the weirdest thing. I have a track phone, and my minutes ran out that day. I have no minutes on my phone. So as soon as I start running, guess what happens? My phone rings. Someone's
your phone
calling
rings.
me.
Your phone,
Restricted.
Your phone without any minutes.
I'm getting a phone call from Restricted.
Nobody ever gets a call from Restricted. What the hell is Restricted?
As soon as I hear this voice, and as soon as I start running, my phone starts ringing. In the middle of the field.
Out in the middle of the field.
I'm getting a phone call from a ghost.
Well, hello? Did you answer?
Well, I answered it, and then it hung up.
Oh, wow. That would have been...
And my
really-
brother heard it, and he saw it. He was like, what? And that made him freak out even more.
Was he running even faster?
He he stopped real fast to look at my phone.
Right.
And then we took off again. And then we got back to my parents' house, and we were in the garage, and I could actually hear footsteps behind the garage. And there was
Really?
no one there.
Oh, wow.
Now, after that,
That's
I
a
still
lot.
felt sick.
That's a lot to happen at one time. A lot of different things.
Now, this is coming on night. I had no intentions of doing any investigations.
Right.
And this is a place that I'm familiar with. I've lived near it my whole life.
Uh-huh.
There's no history that anything has happened here. I didn't expect anything. My brother just wanted to take some pictures at night, see if we'll get an orb.
Well, the French and Indian War, we're in western Pennsylvania. French and Indian War was all over here. There could have been a small skirmish that was never mentioned or never written down in history book.
Or maybe it is, and I don't know about
Or
it.
maybe it is. Well,
Maybe it's
we'll
forgotten.
have to check that out.
But it just goes to show you, be prepared for anything.
Right.
Like, even if that's what happens with ghost stories, people are usually never prepared. People see them when they're not expecting to see them. Things happen when you don't expect them to happen.
Oh, sure.
So, and that's what really makes you remember these things. You ask someone what they dreamt about, people forget their dreams. You ask somebody, they watch a movie 5 years from now, they have to rewatch the movie. Like, I don't remember that.
Right.
You have an experience, a supernatural, you always remember it.
That's true.
But yeah, so I went down there, just take a few pictures, hang out with my brother. He was starting to get interested, and look at what happens.
Yeah.
That's-
Jeez. Well, yeah, we're like, we're always trump ourselves up. It's like we're these ghost hunters that can't be scared. It scares you.
No, I wasn't scared.
Scared
This is
your
why.
brother.
No, this is why I think I got sick. I have never been physically sick, and I've been on a lot of investigations.
Right.
And I even said when I was still walking down, and right when I started walking down the field, I said nothing scares me. I said that. I said if there's anything here, I'm not turning around. That's what I said.
Right.
I told my brother that. I said, Jason, I'm not running from something. Just letting you know.
Right.
I told him ahead of time. I was like, I'm not gonna get scared. But what did happen? The person that won't get scared, the ghost will get you some other way. They made me physically ill.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, all right, you little son of a gun. You're not gonna get scared from us, or we'll make you sick.
Yeah, we'll do something to you.
So
Wow.
it was definitely.
That's a good theory. I never really considered that before.
It's definitely. I felt a very strong presence, and I don't know if everybody out there, but I can see ghosts. Like,
Right.
I'm not no great psychic, but I can feel vibes and energies, and I just things pop in my head. I felt like there was 20 to 30 spirits right there,
In that one area.
right in one area, and I
Right.
felt there were two spirits there, and the emotion. So I can pick up on emotions, and I felt a very angry spirit, and I felt a very curious spirit.
Right.
And the very angry spirit, I think, made me sick.
I
This
can
is
see
a
that.
this is a place where no one has walked in probably 100 years.
Right.
This is a field. No houses are near it.
Huh.
No one walks back there. My brother and I are probably the first people to walk there at night in maybe 100 years.
Wow.
So
That's something.
think about that. You go somewhere where there's no one walks. That might make some spirits angry.
That's true.
So you see an area out there where no one ever goes, that might be where spirits are, because spirits like to have places to go, and they will go where they know people won't be.
Right. Well, I'm sure they're affected by our energy. They don't want to be around us.
Yeah,
They don't know us. It'd be like us going to, you're not just going to go hang out with some stranger and follow some stranger around Walmart.
Yeah.
No, but you feel the energy, if you know it or not. You don't want to be around. You want to be, you want to go
You wanna be
shopping by
comfortable.
yourself. You want to be comfortable.
Yeah, that's like going home. Let's try it. Imagine this: you get home from work, and then you park in your driveway, but instead of walking in your house, you keep walking and you walk to your neighbor's house and you just open their door and you sit down and go to the bathroom and start watching TV and eating their food.
Right.
It's like the same thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So, if they're in a house, there's an empty house that's abandoned for many years and somebody moves into it. There's a lot of ghost activity at first because the ghosts are like, what the heck? What are you doing in my house? You know what I mean? You're sitting where I usually sit. You're cooking in my kitchen. You're using my bathroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I was sick all night. I was in the bathroom for like an hour. Right after that happened, I was in the bathroom.
Well, you said you didn't get much sleep.
I didn't get much sleep. And when I seen you today, I felt like I was going to throw up still. And my stomach still hurt. My stomach actually still hurts a little bit.
Right.
But it's getting better. I think something actually, like, physically harmed me last night.
You know what? I believe it because and we're not making this up at all for the show, but almost the exact same thing happened to me, except I was at a seance.
Okay.
And, I'm not a really good storyteller. I know you're on the podcast show. You should be a really good storyteller. I'm not a great storyteller. I'm like C-3PO from Star Wars. Like, there's really not much to tell. I'm not much of a, storyteller. But I was back. I was in the Army when I was younger, in my early 20s.
Was this on base? Or was this ever...
It was overseas.
Okay.
So went to the first Persian Gulf War. I don't know if anybody even really remembers that. I call it Gulf War One.
Well, it was probably the last war we actually won. Think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because every other war we've been in, we've never really have had an end to it.
Right.
So, but we can say we won that war.
Right. So I don't know if anybody out there listening really knows, because it was a long time ago. To me, it seems like an eternity. It's been over 20 years. But Iraq attacked Kuwait, and the United States went into the region to free Kuwait. Well, our unit was, I was in a communication unit, Alpha Company, 50th Signal Battalion, 18th Airborne Corps, stationed out of Fort Bragg. Well, we were stationed at the Iraq border. We were in Saudi Arabia on the Iraq border, ready right before, we went in to attack. It was 1990, I think it was. And there was a lot of free time on our hands because we were all just waiting for orders to go to our next base, which was our next base was going to be in Iraq. So we were, getting our equipment ready and stuff. But that left us with a lot of downtime. So we had this one gentleman who, believe it or not, oddly enough, and it's still kind of trippy to this day, he was from Iran.
Okay.
He was born in Iran, and when he was like a young teenager, his parents brought him over to the United States.
Okay.
And now he's fighting in Saudi Arabia going against Iraq. And, at the time, Iran and Iraq were fighting each other.
They were at war for 8 years.
Yeah.
Right before that.
Right, exactly. So he's probably like, I'm going to go to America and I won't have to fight Iran or Iraq. But he had to, so that's kind of trippy. But anyway, his name was Pedro. I don't know why, he told me this story. I think it was his uncle or somebody taught him how to hypnotize. So we had a lot of free time on our hands, and he gathered a bunch of people, and he was like, okay, well, I can hypnotize you, like a hypnotize show, like you see, like I can make people do.
We're at a party.
Like at a party, like a hypnotist party. So we're like, cool. So the whole unit, Alpha Company, we're all there, like the captain, everybody. Just absolutely, lieutenants, everybody. We're all there, and he's like, Pedro's going to put on this little show. So he did it, and he was really good at it. And he made, like, people, he put us, certain people under, and they were clucking like chickens, and he had them, like, doing stupid stuff, like walking around without their shoes or whatever have you, normal party tricks. Well, this freaked our captain out because before that, he thought it was BS.
Yeah.
That you cannot
hypnotize somebody.
hypnotize people. He thought it was just fake, but it's real.
That was a parlor trick.
Right. But it wasn't. So he was freaked out. So before the show, he was like, oh yeah, this is great. It'll be entertainment, morale for the troops. After the show, he gets up in front of everybody. He's like, we are not allowed to do this. Like, no hypnotism. Because it freaked him out so bad. Because it took like an hour. An hour later, he's like, no more hypnotism. It's shut down.
Never again, he said.
Never again. But, there was a handful of us. Me, I'm Mr. Paranormal. I always have been. I got Pedro. I went to him. A handful of us, and like, well, we really want you to do this because we want more. We want to experiment more. We want to go further. We want to go deeper. We want to really know what's. We want to see. We want to see.
I see something bad coming.
Right. We want to see some shit. Pardon my French. So he takes us out into this tent that's way out in the middle of nowhere. Why it was there, I have no idea. I think it was going to be a chapel, but it never became a chapel. So he starts doing seances. And he had us, like our spirit guide. He had our spirit guide come to us. And the spirit guide would come and would fly us to our home. Because we were all homesick.
Yeah.
We were we were all 19, 20, homesick. And it really was. In my mind, he had me hypnotized where I thought I was at home, like floating through my house.
Wow.
And I checked.
I've never heard anything like this.
Oh, it's trippy. So literally, it like in my mind, I was in my home that I grew up in.
So you're like remote viewing your place.
Yeah, like remote viewing. And like I was floating, like I wasn't touching the ground. And I checked every room but my parents' bedroom. Right?
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, I didn't think about that at the time. So I got out of it, and when I got out of the hypnotism, like when I was done being hypnotized, I was crying like a baby. And for like days, like I got on the phone and I called my mom and I told her about it because she got me introduced to Edgar Casey and all that. And I thought about it weeks later, and I didn't check their bedroom. It would have been nighttime where they were.
Yeah.
They were probably in bed sleeping. And that made me feel better. Because I floated through the home and nobody was there. Like, they're not waiting for me or something.
Yeah.
But, to this day, I'm like, well, they were probably sleeping. I didn't check the bedroom for whatever reason. They would have been the only ones home. Because my older sisters were out of the house. But anyway, so we did this a few times.
Now, did you always go home or did you go anywhere else?
I really don't remember.
Or could you control it, or was he controlling your?
No, it was like the spirit guide would come, so I would see, like if I was sitting down, like in the grass, and because I never saw myself sitting in the desert where I was. Where I was complete desert.
Yeah.
Scorpions, not a blade of grass in sight.
Nothing pleasant.
Right, but in my vision, I always saw the
pleasant.
Right, it was the grass, the sun, and the water.
Now, did you see your spirit guide?
Yeah, it was a woman.
Oh, yeah? Did you recognize her? Or?
No, I didn't know. She felt familiar.
Okay.
But, I didn't, like, maybe I've known her from past life or something.
Blonde hair?
This is the first time I've told the story.
Blonde hair?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see her in my head.
Oh, yeah. Long, flowing blonde hair.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
With, like, a narrow face.
Yeah, and this is kind of...
I can actually visualize it right now.
Oh, good.
I can see. I'm going back to when that happened to you, and you just feel excitement.
Oh yeah,
that's what I feel. You were excited, excited.
Well, you got to think. I just graduated high school, and I was 18, and I left home, and basically 7 months later, I was sitting in a foreign country, not knowing if I was going to die or not.
Your spirit guides are here right now.
Oh, good.
I can actually sense her.
Oh, yeah?
She's smiling.
Oh, good. She likes the story then.
She's right here.
Oh, yeah? Oh, wow. I could feel the hair stand up on my arms.
Oh, yeah. I can feel her. She's like right here.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, oh, jeez. Yeah, I thought we were just going to tell ghost stories, and this is turning out to like this is your life. Like this is like making me emotional. But anyway, other times, my spirit guide, which is standing
She's
right
not
next
there
to me.
anymore. She's behind you.
Okay. Who's standing behind me now.
She doesn't want touched anymore.
she don't want being touched. That's funny. Yeah, she took me other places, what I remember, but I like maybe to the ocean, but I really don't remember. But that's the last time I seen her until today. So we did a few of those, and it gained in popularity. So Pedro, like I think 12 people were like, "Oh, I want to do this."
Were you picking more people up in there?
Yeah, we were picking up more people, but this time he wasn't just hypnotizing us. He's like, "Well, let's do a séance since we have a lot of people."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, séance. Yeah, how could this possibly go wrong?"
Everything so far has been good.
Everything's been good, yeah, or funny. So I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be great." You know, and me, big paranormal guy, gonna love it. So, long story short, we're on the table. There's a big table. Everybody's around the table, and we all hold hands. And he does this thing, and we're all hypnotized. And he's walking around the room like counterclockwise around the group of 12 people. And he's like, "Who would you like to call on? Because you can call on anybody that is dead. You can't call on anybody that's alive. Anybody that's ever lived."
Did he tell you why no one alive?
Nah, he didn't say.
Okay.
That's what his instructions.
No,
were.
you know, like in the movies where if you do something you're not supposed to, people always do it, and then something bad happens.
Well, like, okay, so
you call on someone alive and that person just dies. Then
so some wise apple, because all our eyes are closed. So
yeah. Did you do yours yet?
Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
Some wise apple goes, "Jack the Ripper."
No way.
Yeah, and I'm like,
You're like, seriously?
So this is the first time I'm like,
Was he the first one?
yeah. Well, it turns out he'll be the only one.
Okay.
Was what happens.
So you didn't
Because-
get to do it.
No, I never did get to
Okay.
pick anybody. It was somebody else. Because I couldn't, nothing, popped in my mind like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
That's funny.
We thought the same thing at the same time.
Alright.
So anyway, Jack the Ripper, I'm like, great. How bad could it be? He goes, so he's going counterclockwise around everybody talking. And he goes, does anybody in the room want Jack the Ripper to touch you? So I'm thinking, yeah, why not?
Did you raise your hand or did you say?
What did I do? I forget. I think he just had us raise our head.
Oh, okay.
Like, keep your eyes closed, but just raise your head instead. He
so
didn't
you're
want you to talk.
So you're like kind of hypnotized state still.
Right, you couldn't.
So this is a different type of seance. I've never heard of a seance like this.
Right, this was not just plain hypnotism, which he was doing before. This was group, like one or two. Hypnotizing one or two people. This is a group, like seance.
Yeah, but it's like
different.
you weren't hypnotized, but you're still in a state of some other conscious thought. But when I think seance, I think candles. I think people sitting around a table and just laughing, and then call upon the dead. This is different.
Well, that reminds me when, like, my spirit guide.
Yeah,
we did candle meditation.
Okay,
which I still do to this day. From time to time, I don't do it as much as I used to, because I was doing candle meditation one day and something was moving in my closet and it just freaked me out. Like, there were people in my closet.
Okay.
So that's the last time.
Well, finish this story and then tell me what candle meditation is. And then
okay.
Then yeah.
So, Jack the Ripper. So the guy next to me, my good buddy, which I'm still real good friends with, and I talk to him through Facebook and everything, he's like, once touched.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, the people, he was touching other people around the table, but I don't know. All I know is what happened to him and me. So he's like,
So you and him said, okay, you both raised your heads.
Right. So, and I didn't know who was next. I didn't know if I was next, but it turned out it was him. His name's Dan. So Pedro puts his arm like on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Right? And then Dan goes, oh, and he like falls, like lets go of his hands and he falls to the ground. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, what's going on here? And this is so weird because literally people who are listening to this story right now, Jack did not tell me this story. That's the first time. I just knew he was sick and he was ghost hunting. I did not,
I've never heard your story.
The stomach twisting. That's the same thing that happened to me. So I'm like all sweating, and Dan let go. So I'm like, oh shit, the chain is broken because you're not supposed to break the chain. But Dan's on the ground in pain, and I'm like, oh my, Jack the Ripper's going to touch me, and like I don't have anybody's hand. Oh, like whoever I think.
Like, hold my hand.
I know Rob was next to me, but he didn't see anything. He didn't really. I don't think he felt anything. I don't think he realized it was whatever. But so I feel that hand, Pedro's hand, touch my shoulder. Boom! As soon as that hand, this electricity went like from his hand right to my stomach, and it must have been the same thing that happened to you, because it felt like somebody went in, put both of their hands on my bowels and completely turned my bowels upside down.
That's exactly how it happened to me.
And it happened. It was like 3 seconds, and then flop, just like. And so that was crazy. I don't even remember what the heck happened. The next thing I remember.
Did you fall to the ground too?
I did not.
Okay.
But the next thing I remember, and I used to smoke. I don't smoke now, but I used to smoke. We were out at the smoking area because they had a little private smoking area with like sandbags, and you had to go smoke there so you weren't around ammunition. So next thing I know, me and Dan and Pedro, I think Rob was there too. He was just listening. He wasn't really chiming in. We're talking about it, and Dan said, he was the one that fell on the ground. He said he opened his eyes, and two things you're not supposed to do during the seance is open your eyes or let go of hands.
All right, gremlins are coming now.
Right. So he did both. He said he opened his eyes and he saw pure evil. He couldn't even describe it.
He saw Jack the Ripper?
He saw a demon, is what he described it as, a demon of fire and blood. Something he could not explain the color. He could not explain what he saw.
I see it.
Like I
see it right now.
He doesn't even have colors to describe what it was. It was just so odd. That's all he would say. And we'll get. You're seeing him. For me, my stomach went away. My stomach went away.
I seen what he's seen. The vision popped in my head.
What is it? What'd you see?
Kind of like, the red thing from Captain America?
Yeah.
Something similar to that.
Really?
In the head. But, like the head's all red. Like, there's no flesh. It's like burnt muscle.
Right.
It's like muscle. It's like someone without skin.
Right.
And then, they don't have a shirt. They got, like, ripped up pants or something. But really not much clothing. And, like, no skin.
Right.
And then the body is like bloody muscle, like blood dripping out of the muscle.
Yeah, I guess that's
what I seen.
But we're going back, buddy. This is 1990.
So it's like a skinless demon with like blood pouring out of the muscle.
Wow.
That's what he saw. That's what I.
No kidding.
If you ask.
So you got to not only did
I see. It's like this. It's like in my head right now. I can't get out of my head. And I think your spirit guide came to protect you from that.
Oh, good.
So,
well, good thing I told that part of the story first.
I'm gonna try to get that vision out of I can't get that
Just
vision
pray.
out of my head.
What you do when you have ghosts fall on you or in your head, you ask God to put a bubble of safety and love around you. Imagine yourself in like a bubble, like when you blow a soap bubble. Imagine your body in a bubble. Oh, good.
Well, I always say rebuke Satan.
That works.
I say I rebuke Satan.
Right.
In the name of Jesus Christ.
I always bring up God's name.
That always works. I rebuke Satan in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And that always works.
Right. That's good advice for you people out there. Or speak God's name or think God's name, because evil does not like God's name at all.
And my mother always mention the blood of Christ, because the blood of Christ is strong.
So
I rebuke Satan in the name and the blood of Christ.
Right.
Amen. And you know what I said? I feel so much better that it
goes immediately.
I feel it's being pushed away.
It goes immediately.
Well, it was like this is a strong demon, whatever it was. I was like pushing it away. I just felt like I just pushed it away. It's like instead of like it instantly gone, I had to push it away.
Huh.
It came and visited us, whatever was there that day.
Wow.
Like right now.
No kidding.
Yeah. And it's like, when we said that, it got pushed away.
Wow, that was really emotional. I did not expect that. Me and Jack were just like, hey, my stomach hurts. Well, let's go talk about your ghost hunting experience.
And now my stomach pain is gone.
I had no idea this was going to happen. This is just crazy. This is, I don't know. I can't even explain this.
This is crazy.
I can find an explanation for everything. I can't find an explanation for this episode. I just can't. This is going to be just... there's no way this episode could be... me personally ever be... Yeah.
You're going to think about this differently now.
I know.
You're going to put... It's like, now it's a more pivotal moment in your life.
Sure.
So...
Yeah, I tried to forget about it.
So you're... Alright, so... we didn't finish the story at it, because I seen the demon. But your friend seen it, so then what happened?
Oh, well, I mean, he was fine. I mean, he's still alive, and it took a couple hours for me to feel better, but I felt better. But, you know. Wow, that's crazy. So that's my story. I guess I didn't do too bad of a job telling the story.
No, it's excellent.
Well,
I just want to hear the last thing for this episode. I want you to get into candle meditation. What exactly is that?
Yeah. Okay, candle meditation is what I learned from Pedro, and you can look it up on the internet because it's there. And I've always done it alone, except
I've done stuff similar. Well, I don't know what it is, but is it always a white candle?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had white.
Should it be white?
Store candles. It works for me because light. You don't want heavy colors. I guess you can use... You're only really looking at the flame. So
yeah.
I don't know if there's a difference, honestly. I guess you would have to experiment.
Okay, so know exactly what you do?
Well, candle meditation, any meditation is anything that you can do to make your brain relax. Some people listen to music. Some people listen to chanting. Chanting. That puts them in. Me, I'm visual. So if you have trouble meditating through somebody's voice, or you have trouble meditating through music, try something visual. And
So when you do candle, you actually look at the flame.
All you do is you get a candle and you put it pretty close to you. You know when you
like a foot and a half away.
Right. You know when you cross your eyes and the candle turns into like a real long, stretchy light.
Yeah.
Up and down, stretchy light. Right. What you do is you just make yourself real comfortable because you might fall asleep. And if you fall asleep during meditation, it's okay if you're first doing it. Like over time, you won't fall asleep. You just get real comfortable so you don't fall over if you fall asleep. Like prop yourself up against something, sit Indian style, whatever. And you just look into the candle and, you just kind of stare at it and watch the flicker and the flame. And then eventually the flame will spread out. And when you feel that you're relaxed, you do the same thing you do on any other meditation. You start, you can ask God. You can start asking questions like to God, God, what can I do in my life to improve my life? Or how can I improve this? How I can improve that? Or you can call on Buddha.
So when it flickers.
Right.
Anytime the flame flickers, you ask a question.
Yeah, well, you'll get it kind of like in a translate. You put yourself into a translate state.
How long do you usually meditate when you do that?
Wow, I mean, when you meditate, it seems like you're only doing it for a few minutes, but you could last hours.
Okay.
And I've tried chants and music. Nothing works. Candle works for me.
So when was the last time you did it?
Well, like I said before, I was doing a candle meditation. I was a single dad, so it was more than 10 years ago. And the kids were asleep, and I did it. And something was moving in my closet. I was like right in front of the closet in my bedroom. Yeah. And then, it was like it sounded like there were people in my closet, like moving the clothes and stuff. It was a bigger closet, and it went back a little bit. It sounded like there were people in there moving around. I mean, it freaked me out, so I haven't done it since.
I used to do it.
Used to do
candle meditation. I didn't know what I was doing. I actually got this book in the mail for free. Someone sent me a book. It was called, I can't remember. I have it at home probably somewhere. Like the new man or something. Something about the soul man or something. Right. And it was like this. It was probably like 6 inches thick. I've never read it, but I got this thing in the mail from these people. I don't know. I don't remember who they were. They sent me this. They sent me a candle. They said, the instructions were read this prayer.
Sure.
Candle meditation. It was all in Latin.
Absolutely.
This will protect you. I was like, what is this? But, I did it just because it said you're in trouble. Someone's out to get you.
Huh.
I got this letter from these people.
Somebody's out to get you.
And I got this big book.
Yeah.
And I got this Latin prayer. So I was like, oh, okay. It might be. I was like, what the heck? It's probably fake. So I read the prayer and then I prayed.
Yeah.
And then I said my own prayer and I did it, but I haven't done it since. But what did I do that day? Just what prayer did I pray?
It's very important.
I don't even know what I said. It was all in Latin.
Right. If you are not in touch with your paranormal side, if you're not in touch with the other side, you need to start. I mean, I'm not trying to thump a religion. I believe in God.
You're saying get connected, believe and
get connected to the other side.
Energy, yeah.
You don't have to believe in a higher power to get connected to the other side. You can be a Scientologist, and get connected to the other parts.
To God, God doesn't care. He's like, I'm going to get you no matter what.
He's going to get you eventually, yeah. So if you're a Scientologist or somebody that doesn't believe in God, an atheist or agnostic or whatever, you can still get in touch with that. There is a side that we don't see. You can get in touch with that without calling it God. You can do it.
Yeah. And
I advise everybody to do that. It's better to do it than not.
Yeah.
And of course, we got to plug our show, ParanormalRoads.com, Paranormal Roads podcast show on ParanormalRoads.com.
Yes. Today we've been talking about some personal ghost stories, and you've been listening on ParanormalRoads.com.
Well, that was smooth, Jack.
I think the show should wrap up.
Yeah.
And
one more thing. You go ahead, and I'll do one more thing after you.
Okay. This is Jack. I just want to say thank you for listening. Visit the website at ParanormalRoads.com. That's with an S.
If you have any ghost stories or ghost pictures,
send them to ParanormalRoads@gmail.com.
Awesome.
So that's with an S with the roads. And I made that on purpose because my whole idea of this website, it's not just about ghost stories. It's about anything paranormal, anything different, anything unknown, anything that's not even would seem paranormal. And people say, what do you mean wouldn't it seem paranormal? Did you know that poets, there's a lot of poetry that doesn't rhyme.
Right.
So there's a lot of things in this world that seem out of place, and some things that seem in place, but they're really not in place.
Wow.
Think about that.
True.
So, welcome to the site. This is like our 4th show, I think.
We're having a blast. I mean, it's so fun.
The more we do, and if we get people listening and responding, it will make us want to do more. So you can, and
you can be part of the show.
Yeah, you can be part of the show.
We'll hook it up and we'll talk to you on the phone. And I will do a shameless plug. For those of you that don't know, you could do web search, Google, Yahoo, Alien Search Guide, and you will find me. I go by the name Author Michael Z. Since we're talking about ghosts, I just happen to have a 99-cent ghost story book called Psychic Ghost Stories. You can find it on Amazon.com or BarnesandNobles.com. But look up all my stuff connected to Paranormal Roads, and Paranormal Roads is connected to me, and thanks for joining us.
So I'm saying bye. This is Jack.
All right, this is Mike. We'll see you later, everybody.